If when he saw David, if he saw the God of Israel behind David, if Goliath had walked, not by sight, but by faith, and he said, this little boy can do havoc, can destroy me, and therefore if he saw the invisible and had drawn away, he would have spared his life. He remained, and that is what killed him. But David, he said, I see your sword, but I don't see it. I see your spear, but I don't see it. I come in the name of the Lord. And he ran after him, and he threw one stone, and the man came down. He wasn't walking by sight. Show me a man that will train himself, that anytime I hear of trouble, I'll never think about it. That man will succeed. You can't defeat that man. Anytime I hear something that is depressing, discouraging in my place of work, in my family, or people are talking about the zone, they are talking about the district, and they say this, did you know this information about the district? What I didn't know, what is it? And they tell you, if it is something that will make you to be walking by sight, you say, so that is going on in our district. If it is something like that, just blot it off as if you never heard, and just walk by faith. And they say, this thing that I just told you now, doesn't it bother you? No, not at all. Why doesn't it bother you? I look at the invisible. I look at things that are not seen. Your victory lies in this. Looking at things that are not seen. When you keep on looking at things that are seen, you know, this problem, that one is getting married, that one is not getting married, that one is gossiping, that one is grumbling, that one is complaining. If you go by that, you are defeated before Goliath died. But if you look not at the things which are seen, and you're only looking at the invisible, do ye look on things after the outward appearance? Since we became Christians, we have been saved, we have been sanctified, we have been baptized in the Holy Ghost. Have we been trained to look at things which are not seen? Or after all these years that we have believed on the Lord Jesus Christ, are we still looking on things after the outward appearance? And when you see something, it removes your joy. You are just going now and you are happy. As you are happy, then somebody came to, as you are going, somebody that should say, good evening sister, or good evening brother, and she just snubbed you and walked away. Just looking at that, all your joy is gone. What have I done? Am I, this person, I'm old enough to be her senior sister. You say, maybe she didn't see me. Sister so and so, come. Did you see me? Yes, I saw you. Are you mother of Jesus? So if I don't worship you, I cannot move freely. No, I'm not talking of worshiping me. Couldn't you say good evening? You need good evening. Okay, good evening. And then went away. And then as she was going, you turned back, you were watching her, and she was walking arrogantly. Walking as if whatever you will do, come and do. I will do whatever I like. So when somebody doesn't greet you, it pains you, I will do it for you double. That alone, greet me, I don't greet you, brings you sorrow. You are sad. You cannot eat. You are not happy again. Because somebody snubbed you. Somebody did not greet you. How many thousands of people in the world that doesn't know how to greet people? But because of that, we are sad. Joy is lost. Everything is gone. Now, so and so, here you are in the zone, and we have been moving together. I heard that you wanted to get married. I saw it on the paper in the church. Is it good like this? Good like what? So if I want to come and if I want to marry, I should announce to the whole of Lagos City. No, are you counting me as Lagos City? I'm your sister now. You didn't tell me you are going to get married. And anyway, you know now that I'm going to get married. Okay, I'm going to get married. You are sad. And when they tell you to come and lead house fellowship, you cannot lead house fellowship because somebody wanted to get married. Why don't we train ourselves? And do not look at things that are seen. When you see all those things, just put your eyes away. Somebody is getting married, didn't tell you, good luck to them. Somebody passed by you, did not greet you, good luck to them. Somebody was traveling, sister, where did you go? I went to London. Now, are you the one going to give me visa? I went to London. I went for holidays. And we are here. We are leaving just you couldn't even come and say, I was traveling. No. Why should I come and tell you? I know the way now. I know the road to the airport. I have my visa, I have my passport. And God provided money for me. I didn't need to beg anybody. I went, I just traveled just to have a nice time, whether you like it or not. And I'm back. And you are sad because somebody went to London and didn't tell you. Why are you killing yourself? All these things that we see that bother us, wash them off. And just live your life looking at the invisible. Looking at things that are unshakable. Looking at things that Jesus will look at. Looking at the promises of God in your life. Do ye still, after all these years in the Christian faith, can't I train myself? Can't you train yourself that we look not at things which are seen, but we look at things which are not seen? Do ye look on things after the outward appearance? Look at verse 12. For we dare not make ourselves of the number, or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves. But they, measuring themselves by themselves and comparing themselves among themselves, are not wise. You know, sometimes you are going on the way and you've just bought a motorcycle and you are very happy. Oh God, I thank you that you provided this motorcycle for me. And you are coming to the church, and while you are coming, somebody you've been seeing in the district before, but you know, this fellow, you didn't even know that the fellow went to school because you've been seeing one another. And while you were riding a motorcycle, very, very happy, this fellow was coming with Volvo. And then he passed you. And then while you are trying to make your way and park, he just, went there and he parked and shut the door and he put his hands in the pocket and said, you wanted to park there? You said, yes, brother. Well, Volvo needs more space, And you felt, is he driver or is he the owner? And you are watching. And eventually you discover he's the owner. Even though you are thanking God before, he provided motorcycle for you. Now you cannot thank God anymore. So and so is riding Volvo. So and so is riding Peugeot. So and so is riding such. And I'm rejoicing and praising God for motorcycle. Why are you looking at them? We dare not be of the number that compare ourselves with the other people. If I drink Gary in my house, I look not at things that are seen. You can eat whatever you want to eat in your house. If all I have is bicycle or motorcycle, I look not at things that are seen. You can do whatever you like. Here we come, we want to get married. And we should be happy on the day of our wedding. And on the day of our wedding, somebody was kind enough to lend us a Volkswagen to take the new couple to where they are going to have their reception. And here we have a lot of people that are wedding, brother and sister so and so, brother and sister so and so, and you discovered while you were, having the rehearsal with the marriage committee, all these people were just ordinary people, and they were saying, dress this way, don't dress this way, do this and don't do this. On the day of the marriage now, while you are coming, and you are coming out of the Volkswagen, and here, these people coming out of the Mercedes Benz, and you are going to do the marriage together. And with the corner of your eyes, you look at them. You say, the people we did rehearsal together yesterday, and your mind is not in what you are going for again. You start looking at, is it their own, or did they lend them? Why are you looking at that? Why are you bothering yourself? Why are you going to kill yourself because of somebody has Volvo? Whether they lended them or they bought it, what's your business there? We dare not be of the number that compare ourselves with some that commend themselves. You see what stops us in working for God? Comparing ourselves. I see what that one is doing. I see what that one is wearing. I see what that one is riding. But we do not compare ourselves or measure ourselves with other people. We just yield ourselves to the Lord. Sometimes we have peculiar problems that we dare not look at. Do you know, brothers and sisters, as we're in the church, we're different. You'll find that a particular brother has a physical infirmity, or if a sister has a physical infirmity, and the sister or the brother will spend all her life Because of that, maybe she limps a little, or he limps a little. And every time she's very conscious of that I limp. But what does that matter? Or it may be that the physical infirmity is something that is known to other people. When they see that individual, they see the physical infirmity. And every time when the brother or the sister wants to work for the Lord, when he wants to preach the gospel, anything he wants to do, what he'll be thinking about is that they'll be looking at me that I limp. They'll be looking at me that I have this physical infirmity. Why are we looking at things that are sin? These things that are sin will vanish away. All these things will not stand because they are shakeable and they are changeable, and God is able to change them. While if you are limping, go to the house fellowship and teach. It is not your limp that is teaching, it is your spirit that is teaching. If you have any physical infirmity, go ahead and teach. It is not the physical infirmity that is teaching the people. It is your heart, your love for God, your spirit that is passing the message across to the people. Look at 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in mine infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. I will glory in my infirmities. You know, sometimes after you are married, you discover that maybe your wife has a particular physical blemish. And the physical blemish may be known to people. It may be something that is open, something very clear. And if you are not careful, you will not be able to love your wife as Christ loved the church. You'll be ashamed of her publicly. You cannot go with her publicly, because you are looking at things that are sin. You are not looking at things that are not sin. And that destroys your love for your wife. Or it may be your husband. You know, there are times that you are a believer, a Christian man, and your wife is not yet a Christian woman. And your wife says, I like to go to church with you. I like the preaching of deeper life. The cases who have been playing in the house, I think I love them. But only one condition. I don't want to be a hypocrite. I want to be who I am, whether I'm in your church or I'm at home here. And since I'm not religious like you are religious, born again that you are talking about, I'm not in that yet. But I like to go to the church. I like the way that your pastor preaches. Even for that alone, I will go there. And then she comes with the painting, with the jewelry and everything. And while you were coming down from the vehicle, one of the brothers saw you and said, oh brother, how are you? And started talking to you. And the sister, your wife, instead of going, waited so as to wait for you. And the brother, knowing that the person waited, wanting to greet the fellow, asked and said, brother, is that your wife? He said, yes. And so the brother greeted the wife and all that, but you are ashamed. You are disorganized. You can't pray. You went into the meeting, you can't hear the scripture. You can't hear the message. That woman has disgraced me. So that man will be looking at me now, so my wife is like that. What's his business? If your wife is like that. Why are we looking at things that are sin? And all these things disorganize us. They just blow us apart. We can't live anymore. We can't pray anymore. We are ashamed. We can't lead the fellowship that we ought to lead. Everything that we ought to do because of that little physical thing that they have seen. Why are you not happy that the woman is able to follow you to the church and be able to say, look at my wife, even when they don't ask you, introduce her to them and let them show love unto her. Let her see that, they see me as I am. It means that these people are not looking at all the things I put on my neck, in my ears, everywhere. The believers are not looking at things which are sin, but we're looking at things which are not sin. Or we say, God is working on her already. If she could agree to come to the church, God is working a miracle already. And we begin to look at things that we cannot see, rather than all the time we concentrate our lives on things we can see. And that's the secret of our victory. That in your life, you'll become free as the air. And you go in the presence of the Lord, you pray, you preach, you minister, you do anything, because you are not looking at those things. Paul the apostle said, therefore will I rather glory in my infirmities. Let us look at 2 Timothy chapter 4. Let's look at chapter 1 first, and verse 15. 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 15. This thou knowest, that all they which are in Asia be turned away from me, of whom is Phygellus and Hermogenes. It says, all that be in Asia turned away from me. You know how lonely you feel when people turn away from you. And it appears that you've lost all your friends. You say, I can understand that the friends in the world, if I lose them, I don't care. But think about it. The children of God. Do you know that when this happened to me, that happened to me, none of the children of God came to visit me? Or are you looking at that? Paul the apostle said he could remember he labored for 2 years or 1.5 years in Asia, until almost everybody in Asia Minor heard the word of the Lord. But he wrote to Timothy. It was a period of loneliness. Everybody forsook him. He said, do you know, Timothy, this you ought to know, that all they which be in Asia, they turned away from me. Look at 2 Timothy chapter 4 verse 16. At my first answer, no man stood with me, but all men forsook me. I pray God that it may not be laid to their charge. What do you think about when you're a little bit sick, nobody came to visit you? Apart from the sickness, the loneliness, and the fact that none of my brothers, none of my sisters even thought about coming to visit me, that one is even more terrible on you. You even forget the sickness now. The problem you are now fighting and wrestling with is that all these people forsook me, nobody asked of me. What if, as you are coming to the church, the policeman delayed you, and he said, whose vehicle is this? Maybe the vehicle was repaired before, but the mechanic changed one of the windscreens, and the number on that windscreen, you didn't notice it before. It was a different number from the vehicle. And the policeman said, how about this? Oh, you said, I don't know about it. What happened is that I gave the vehicle to the mechanic, and I just received it back. They said they have repaired it, but how that windscreen came there, it must be their work. Then they said, well, maybe you are a thief, and they locked you up. And if brethren did not see you at the central church, they didn't see you in the district, and nobody came to find out. You are not married, you are a bachelor, they just lock you behind there, and on the third day they just have mercy on you and they released you. After you came out of that cell, you are in another spiritual cell. You hold on to yourself, you imprison yourself now. Well, they didn't come to me. If I died, that's how they will not come. You begin to exaggerate it. You begin to expand it. If the armed robbers had, laid hands on me and they had killed me, that's how those people will not check me up. You see now, we talk about love, we talk about visitation, we talk about everything, and I know when so-and-so was sick, I know how many times I visited his house. When so-and-so had a difficulty, I know how many times in one day I visited his house. Do you know that all men, they forsook me? Why are you thinking about that? While we look at things which are not seen, we're looking at things which are not seen. Because if you keep on looking at all those things we can see, they are small things, but they will destroy your Christian life. They'll take the ministry out of your hand. But to make up your mind tonight, Lord, I don't care what the devil does now. I don't care what any man does. I will not look at the storm. I will not look at the trouble. I will not look at the mountain. By not looking at them, they will get out of your sight. By looking at the invisible, the mighty God, and you stop looking at these things that bother you, you'll be lighter. Your life will be a joyful life.